Going to do a comparison for you today. 35 watt HID PowaBeam 9-inch versus the Javalite Pro kit, the new one from OLIGHT. And look, two completely different horses for courses. Well, let's check them out. I've contacted OLIGHT Australia since I've done the recording, and they have jumped on board and they're going to support the channel. So if you use the code HSO10 on the OLIGHT Australia website, use the link below and that will redirect you to the OLIGHT website. Use the code HSO10 and you'll get a discount of 10%. Now, I did this review and purchased this product before I contacted OLIGHT Australia, so the review is 100% honest, and it's not influenced by them by any stretch of the imagination. So it is genuine, and I really thank the guys for jumping on board. Alternatively, you can also jump on their website. There'll be a link below, and get one of the Brass Goblin shirts. Right guys, the Javalite Pro by OLIGHT. The reason I bought this is because I was coming out here on my own, and in the past when I'm out doing culling on the spotlight, typically what happens is you'll move the spotlight and then you go to take a shot and they move just out the spotlight. Then you have to readjust the spotlight, and sometimes it can be a bit sticky and whatnot, and I thought that maybe this would be a good solution to not have to worry about the spotlight so much. So I'm using this in conjunction with the spotlight. Now I will just say, if you want a full review of what the Javelot, now I don't know how to pronounce it right, I'm probably getting it wrong. It's probably French word, probably like Javelot. This is the Javelot lad. So I'm not sure. Anyway, just being stupid. So I thought this would be a good balance between the two, and improve my solo hunting. That's the purpose I got it for. Now I do think a lot of people in Victoria, I think, use this type of torch for a lot of hunting. They do a lot of you know, sitting there whistling up and all that sort of stuff like that. I don't know. It's not my sort of hunting. I typically have a vehicle mounted spotlight, and that's what we use it for. Fantastic light. I think I got a couple of beefs with it, and we'll go over that. But tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a comparison of how bright this is versus the PowaBeam 35 watt. Now, you've seen my other video where we had the 50 or the 55 watt PowaBeam HID side by side. There's not much difference. Honestly, we can't tell the difference between which one's which. Now, I know they got claims that this can see up to 1 kilometer and all that sort of stuff like that, but I think those claims are pretty far stretched. Maybe you could see the light from 1 kilometer, but I don't think, look, I don't know that there's any type of game you could hunt that you could shoot and see and scope at 1 kilometer anyway. So I think those claims are a little bit false or misleading. But the reality is, at night time, you're generally only shooting, you know, 100 meters, maybe 200 at the max. So any need to go out past that's really beyond it. Now, my point is, if you want full spoken, if you want the full specs and all the details and that, look, just head over to Aussie Reviews. He does a fantastic job of breaking down the light. I'm assuming he's done this one as well, and I'll leave that to him. I'm just here to compare this light to the car mounted light. So here's the OLIGHT in all its glory, mounted to my Hauer 1500 223, and I bought the Javalite Pro kit, and you know, it's pretty good. I like it. So yeah, so as I said, Hauer 1500, Boyd left-handed thumbhole stock on a right-handed bolt. Okay, and so what I've done, it does come with this fantastic, this is where you recharge it. That's a magnet. And that's also where the remote switch is for it. So what I've done here is I've mounted it. So there's my trigger finger. So when I'm off trigger, like being safe, I always put my finger down here like this. Okay, so there. And then I can just simply go up like that and flick the switch. And you just hard hit it, and that'll turn it on to full blast. Full blast with one easy push of the button. Okay? So you can see here, it's nice and low. It's really good. For my purposes, it is a little bit cumbersome because it's got to fit under the rear view mirror. I'll show you that in a second. But look, it doesn't add too much weight. It's not too heavy. pretty nice like that. And yeah, it goes pretty good. Okay, so I just thought I'd give you a bit of a mock-up during the day of what it would be like for me hunting at night. So typically, I'll be spotlighting left to right. I only do about 180 degrees. No point looking back like this because you're already past it, and I can't shoot back at an angle because of this. And you can see that my kit has this rifle rack on here as well. This is a oh geez, I can't even think of the name off the top of it. A top spot remote handle. No, not remote handle. Window mount. Top spot window mount. Okay, so and I've got a PowaBeam handle on here. Now I think I've got a bit of a review there on it. I'm not going to talk about that too much. But this, I think one of these is about 550 bucks. This was about 140. This was about 135, and I think this was about 60 or 70 bucks as well. So I'll put up how much total that is, but it's getting up there. Whereas the Javalite Pro, 350 bucks. That gives you the kit. You're good to go, everything. But they are two completely different kettle of fish. So typically, I'll be spotlighting, and then I might see something. And now, one of the problems with the light is it can move. Here's a pro tip for you, Dave. Don't just go like this, and you can see it starting to move. It'll fall down like this. What you do is you spot, tip it to the side, so you hook it on all the way on the edge, and it'll typically stay there once you've got the tension set right. And I'll do that for every spot. Like I'll go over there, try and lock it in, and it'll normally go pretty good. So I'll lock it in, get my gun out. There it is there, ready to go. Reach around like this, line it up, and next thing it moves. And so I've got to go get the next one. It moves again. And then boom, I can shoot it. And I'll just show you that is actually clear. And that's what I'll do. So one of the things that I thought would be good is get the OLIGHT. I could look out, it moves, I hit the light on, aim, fire, and I'm done much quicker, and it's all done and dusted. And that's what I got it for, really. Only for the solo hunting. I mean, there's always a situation where you've got that mate on the spotlight, and he's terrible, like stop there. He can't see anything because the light's above him. You're on the tray, and he's like, where is it? Go back, you idiot! Back where? No, back there. Oh my goodness! And by then it's long gone. It's a fox. It didn't sit still. So if I see something and I'm on the back, I can just go boom, flick it on, and good to go. That's sort of, I could see it being really useful when you've got that mate that doesn't know when you go, scanning, go to the left. That is not going to the left. This is going to the left. If I said to you to go left, I'd go left, and then I'd expect you to scan back left. Stop. Okay, I'll stop, wait. No, nothing, keep going. Then keep scanning on. I hate people that do this. Like looking around, whipping around. Like, man, you're gonna give me, put me in a epileptic fit from flashing the light everywhere. Just scan, slowly. Go left, back to the left. Go right, back to the right, Unless I go hard left, oh yeah, hard left. No, too much. Okay, then I'll start scanning back, etc., etc. So anyway, my point is, the reason I got it is so that if it jumps out of the light, I can just hit the light, and there it is. So I can just go off the side, boom, away I go. And is it good for that? That's what I'm going to talk to you about in a second. All right, here is the real test. We've got the sun's gone down. As you can see, there's a little bit of a silhouette in the background, but I can tell you now, the ground, the trees are pitch black. I can't see them, probably because there's too much ambient light above the ground. So what I'm going to do, we're going to turn on the 35 watt HID, and I'm going to shine it at a tree. We're going to see how long it takes to warm up, and then we'll do a comparison on the turbo mode on the OLIGHT, and you'll see the difference there. And I also dug out my old Light Force SL170, which is like a 6-inch, 170 millimeters, and it's a 100 watt incandescent bulb, and we'll have a good little comparison between the three. Okay, I'm going to switch on the HID. Okay, so the HID is on, it's starting to warm up, and you can just see the spot in the background there as it's starting to warm up. It's probably still not quite at full strength yet. That tree is, I want to say it's about 100 meters. There's a chance it's a bit closer, a chance it's a bit further. But realistically, when you're shooting from the vehicle without turning the car off, that's as far as you're going to be shooting. And you can see that that took quite a while for it to warm up. That's probably at full strength now. And this is one of the reasons why I got the OLIGHT, is what you're about to see. I'm just going to move that to the side, to this other tree. Now this other tree here is actually a little bit closer, but for the purposes... Okay, now I'm about to hit the remote switch on the OLIGHT, and you'll see how quick this thing goes on. Boom, instant. Instant. Is it as bright as the HID? No, definitely not. The HID is definitely brighter. I mean, I can see the grass is all lit up. You know, it's let's do a little comparison there on the grass, and I'll try and get this one on the grass there as well. You know, because normally I'm not shooting at trees. And you can see there, it's a bit duller, and that's on turbo mode. That's as bright as it can go. Oh, you can't quite see the left light. I'll just go. Let's try that. So there you go. You can see the two sort of side by side there, and the OLIGHT is definitely nowhere near as bright, and that's on full strength. This is on low light, medium light, high light. You can see high light is like nearly nothing in comparison, and then turbo. So nowhere near as good as the HID. So there's no way you could replace your HID spotlight with this light. So I'll just hit that off again. We'll just hit the HID off. Now, this is the problem with the HID, was the OLIGHT, you can see, back on, full strength. And on its own, it is very good light. You could easily shoot out to 100, 200 meters with this light, no problem, with a good optic. Like I've got a 50mm optic, I could shoot out that far, no problems with that spotlight. Now, I've just had the HID off for what, not even a little while? And straight away you can see it's got to take a little while to warm back up. Oh, that's not too bad. That's up there. So, but typically if you've had it off for about, I don't know, a minute, even just to shut the gate, so you go, turn it off, go through a gate, turn it back on, you've got to warm up. I lost a pig because of that. I decided that instead of waiting for the spotlight to warm up because it was going to run away, I chased the pig, crashed the car, destroyed the tyre, nearly wrote the car off, nearly set the airbags off, another story. But as you can see on its own, fantastic. It's really good. You know, there's that tree. That tree would be as far as I would comfortably shoot a fox or a cat or anything of that nature. Of course, you know, take shots out past that, but that would be a good distance to be shooting small game like that. Realistic is what that is. Anyone shooting past that at night time is probably not being that super realistic. Now let's have a look how that compares to a 100 watt quartz halogen. And you can see it is still not as bright as the quartz halogen, but a much better light to shoot under. It's probably, yeah, I mean, this is horrible. This light really is horrible. But that's on turbo mode too, okay? Because the thing that you need to consider, I'm not spotlighting with it, okay? I'm just using it like this. You know, we'll go back to the halogen. Oh, there's a kangaroo. I'm in a fixed position. It's hopped off to the side, and then I'm just going on, bang, off. So the big thing is, on that turbo mode, I think you only have about 18 minutes. Well, there's no way I could go spotlighting all night on 18 minutes of battery on full mode. It's just really not even a thing. So let's, I just want to show you, this is the lowest setting. I can't see anything. I'll be honest. I don't even know if the camera can pick that up. Probably only because it's on the post. I'll just turn it off again. So you see the post, turn it back on. You couldn't hunt with that at all. Like, I don't even know what you could do, maybe around a campsite. Setting number 2, you know, that's more like a normal light. I definitely still don't think you could hunt with that. That's setting 3. Look, if you were shooting out to like 20, 30 meters, look, even right out the back there, I think you could still shoot under there. I don't think you could clearly identify your target. It's just not powerful enough out there. But as I was saying before, or maybe in a bit, I would prefer it went on the remote switch to this setting, because I just need, with a bit of ambient light from the other spotlight, plus this light, I could easily shoot and see my target. But on the next setting, because it's so close to the scope, the glare I get from the dust in the scope, because remember it's only like 2 inches above what I'm looking at, the overexposure through the scope is just ridiculous. So when I use this one, it's all right, but when I go to the next one, it's definitely not all right. So you can see, you know, it's probably like 2 or 3 times more powerful on that highest setting. So look, that's just a comparison. I still love it. I think it's fantastic. It just, there's no way it would be able to replace my 35 watt HID PowaBeam. It's definitely going to supplement it, and I can definitely see some other very good uses, walking around shooting rabbits, and maybe if you could whistle in foxes or howl in some dogs. Yep, definitely. I mean, I could use this out on the new property up in the hills and that, if I wanted to do that sort of thing, and that's where its power really lies. But as for shooting out of a vehicle, supplementary item, not 100% necessary, but would definitely improve your hunting to some kind of standard. Would I recommend it to a professional roo shooter? Probably not. Probably not, because those guys, they know what they're doing. They, you know, forward folding windows, you don't need to be worried about it moving, and you know, all that sort of stuff like that. They're pretty quick and they're on their A game. Amateur on the scene, yeah, maybe. But like I showed you, it does take up a lot of real estate in the car, so probably not that keen to advise roo shooters to put it on their gun. Okay, so I thought I'd just give you a quick look of, because of the height of it, I've got my rifle rack on the dash and over here. Now, so used to be pretty easy. I could just whip it out of here like this. I can't even think I'd do it now. And I'll just poke it out the window. Now, I have to be mindful now that I don't hit the rear view mirror. I bumped that quite a few times last night. So, you know, I've got to sort of come up, twist it over, come out under, and go there. But look, that's not really too much of an issue. I quickly come around it, and putting it back in's actually super easy. But it's when if you're too excited, that's when you sort of run into problems. So I just got to make sure I go like that. So it doesn't give me much room through the dash there. So I certainly would only run it, I think, if I had to or needed to. So, but the more I use it on the gun like this, then obviously the better I've got to get at it, the easier and the smoother it will be. I don't think that's too much of an issue. I think that I can overcome that pretty well. But then there's the other issue of putting it through the window. So just as with the mirror, clearing that, I do have to be mindful. I don't have much real estate up under here. So now typically I'm out the window like this, so it's not too much of a problem. This cable, I haven't got it hooked up. Normally that's out of the way. That's really not an issue, and there's certainly no problem of the Javalite. Now, as I come up around here, just wrecked my mirror. Normally I have the mirror tipped forward like that. You can see even when I'm all the way out here, it's not really an issue. I had a couple of times last night where I was trying to get a real good angle like that, and I did have to have the gun just canted slightly to get a shot at. But I mean, not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. I'm having to be careful. I've got the gun there, you know. Typically it's got rounds in it, so it's not loaded, but you know, you've got to be careful with it because it's a firearm. You've got to treat it with respect. So yeah, I think it does take up a lot of real estate, especially in the confines of a car like this. So it's not the perfect solution. I think that's why if I was exclusively window shooting, there's no doubt about it, the window mounted or the roof mounted spotlight is far better than the gun mounted one, because first of all, you can't even search with that with it mounted to your gun. I mean, it's just not possible. Your shoulder would get too sore. But of course, there's probably people that do it and probably do it really well, and you'd have to get tips off those guys as to how to do that. But you know, for what we're doing, I just use this and use that, and it's a pretty good balance. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what I don't like about it. The charging light is a bit disappointing. That is currently charging. I've got it plugged into the USB down there. Now you can see the green light on the left, just there. So it's on, plugged in, and unless I go like this, cover it right up, you can just see it's red. As soon as I take that away, there's no way you can tell that that's charging. Here's my biggest beef with the torch, and it's not really a fault of the torch itself, but just the application of it in this configuration. So one of the problems is that the momentary, well, not the momentary switch, but the quick, what do you call it? The remote switch, the remote activation switch. It can only turn the torch on to full blast. I don't like that. I wish I could have it on the next setting down. One of the problems is when you are driving around in country like this, there's a lot of dust, right? And so every time you pull up, there's a big dust ball comes and engulfs the car, right? And what happens is, with this torch on its highest setting, you get overexposure, is the only way I can say it is, in the optic. So there's so many dust particles up in the sky, you get reflection off the dust back into the scope, and it becomes too glary, goes like all yellows, really bright, and that really sucks. Now on that same note, the same thing happens because when you're shooting, because the scope and the torch are so close together. Last night there was 1,000 moths, and what happened with the 1,000 moths is the moth would fly around like this, so typically when I'm in the car in here, I'm not saying this thing isn't moth proof, but you know, all the moths are flying around here, but I'm shooting down here, right? So you can see, got nearly 2 foot from this bar, right? Say from here to there. So most of the moths are flying around here. Of course you've got strays. Of course there's ones up here on a window and stuff like that. And there's no doubt about that. That's happening. The moths are flying around there, but they're not down here, right near the gun. Now the problem here is you turn that light on and the moths are flying all around here. And when the moths come down and they start going in front of the scope, once again, overexposure of the scope and everything whites out. Your eyes, your iris is retracting and opening, and it can become very difficult to see the game quickly enough to do it, you know. And that really, for me, the problem is with that the switch on the back there. I think they should do some recoding on that and make it so that it can go not to straight to the highest setting, but to the next setting off. That's really probably my biggest beef with it, is because, like I said, dust from driving the vehicle, not a problem with the big one, but the dust in here, the dust isn't too bad. I can still shoot with it in the dust. But the moths, man, the moths was so bad. It was like, you know, because my eyeballs opening and closing as the moths were coming in and smashing me. And I really didn't like that. You know, so what can you do about that? Not much. I mean, but did it stop me from using it for how I had it set up? No, it did not. Not every time is it going to be this dusty. Not every time. There's not normally this many moths. I mean, it was particularly bad this time. So the moth situation,
that's no fault of OLIGHT. The dust situation, that's no fault of OLIGHT. But I would like it so that if the quick release, the remote trigger, sorry about the glare there from the sun, if this could go to whatever power setting you had on the gun, because the thing is, the night before I wasn't using this. I had this disconnected because I couldn't be bothered, you know, because I had to put the Velcro on for because that is Velcroed on that that switch, so that's really good. But I was just using the light. I was just holding the button like this. I can't even see if it's on. You know, I was just doing that, and I had it set to the second highest setting because I think it goes for some ridiculous length of time on the second highest setting. I had a fantastic time just clicking the button when I needed it, but then when I had it hooked up to that remote switch, that's when it all went to rubbish. With it on that slightly lower setting, it can push through the dust without you getting too much overexposure in the scope. I guess it's like, you know, when you put your high beam on in the fog, it really just sort of blinds you, but you go to low beam and you can see through it. Well, it's the same. You take the high beam off the light and you can just see through the dust. And I really think that was, I'm really disappointed that remote switch, that definitely should be able to go to the second highest setting. And I'm going to speak to them about that because that's probably my biggest gripe with the remote switch, I guess. Like, I mean, the setup is pretty good. Would I buy one again? Yes. I will continue to use this when I'm solo hunting. I think it is a fantastic piece of kit, and I wish I'd bought one sooner. I mean, this isn't the first time I've done some solo hunting, so I think this is the savior. This really is a game changer. At least for culling that I'm doing and shooting foxes and all that sort of stuff like that on your own. Fantastic. I can't recommend it enough, but it'd just be nice to see them make those few changes, and I think it would be the ultimate piece of equipment. I haven't been paid or given this. I went out and purchased it myself, and yeah, I really like it. It is really good, but it'd just be great if the remote switch could do the same thing as this switch. Maybe I've stuffed up. Maybe there is a way to make it do it. But I haven't had a chance to read the book fully, but I did have a read of it, and the one thing I saw was that the momentary switch can only go to... sorry, the reason I keep saying momentary switch is because the remote has momentary switching, where if you hold it in, when you let it go, it will just turn itself off again. Or if you just hard click it once, it will stay on, and hard click it again, it will turn off again. So it has, I mean, as does, I think this, I think it's the one there's a button on the back there as well. I think it's the same as the remote in that it can go hard on or momentary on, or I don't know, you'd have to read the book, but the one on the back's not really that good for me. So, because typically if I'm shooting, I've got my hand in here ready to go, and then I will use my front hand to come up and push the light. Now, normally I'd have the button on the top. I just put it on the side there so you guys could see the branding. But
don't forget, guys, HSO 10 on the OLIGHT Australia website. Using the link below, save 10% off any of the OLIGHT products, or you could also grab the awesome Brass Goblin t-shirts over on our website.
All right, guys, that's it. That's another one in the bag. I really do like the OLIGHT. I don't think it's a replacement for the fixed lights or the ones on the remote with the big 35 watter. But certainly for, I don't know what the other hunting styles are that use this type of thing, but I'm sure it's got its applications. But solo hunting out the window, yeah, I do recommend it. I've got a few other options. I can use it for shotgunning for rabbits. As a small property out at Stanthorpe I can walk around, mount that to the shotgun. That is gonna be tops. I really can't wait to do that. It will serve the purpose fantastic, and maybe that's the sort of hunting a lot of guys in Victoria do, chasing foxes and rabbits and all that sort of stuff like that. Probably for rabbit hunting, this thing is probably going to be exceptional. But I don't have too many properties that have rabbits except for that one, and I haven't had a chance to go back out there. I did have another light, and sometimes it would turn off when you pull the trigger and stuff like that. As in, when you shot the gun, the recoil of the gun would turn it off. So that'd be really cool to see that. Look, guys, but until next time, guys, smash that subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Otherwise, hit the big circle at the end there. Give us a big thumbs up, big like, and please leave your comments below. let me know. Have I done something wrong? Do I need to do something to get this remote switch to work? I'm gonna call the guys from OLIGHT. I'm gonna provide them some feedback, so hopefully they can make some changes to put some improvements in play for us. That would be fantastic, but I don't know those guys from Bar of Soap. I paid my $350 to get it delivered to my door, free shipping in Australia, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'll continue to use it. It is pretty good. It's improved my solo shooting, definitely. I can see some purposes of it improving where you got rookies on the spotlight, because nothing worse than having rookies on the spotlight. You got to be pretty patient in those times. But if you want to shoot with other people, sometimes that's what you got to do. So, but yeah, look, guys, I would highly recommend one. You can get the next one down. The reason I went this one, it's like a MSX or something, was just purely for battery life. This has much better battery life. I used it, you know, a fair bit. It took really no time to charge back up, because I'm not using it all the time. I'm turning it on for like 15 seconds, 20 seconds tops, I reckon, and then turn it back off again. So, but yeah, guys, look, get outside, have fun, and get them big boars. And until next time, I'll catch you later.